Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill. This is a short video for our class, Introduction to Ethics, Philosophy 2306 here at St. Philip's College. This is the online version of the class for our very short Maymester 2019. And today it's Thursday, the 23rd of May 2019. This is still week one in our 3-week course. And in this first week, we've been focused on getting our books and on addressing the first case study. So I had a chance to start going through those. They were due last night, so I'm looking at them now this morning. And hopefully I'll get grades up for you pretty quickly today or tomorrow. I also, though, we want to make sure that we got our books, Doing Ethics by Lewis Vaughn. And then we start to work our way through the first chapter, the first 2 chapters really now. We want to, again, it's going to go fast. You got to get that book and start reading. So if you got your book, great. If you don't, you need to plan for getting it pretty fast. And don't forget, in the meantime, you can always check one out of the library here at St. Philip's College. You can read it there on reserve. I've got a copy of it on reserve at the library. That being said, yesterday we had a chance to talk a little bit about the first chapter, and at the beginning of it, he kind of lays out what he calls the ethical landscape. The next thing I want to talk about is what he identifies, again, as a part of Chapter 1, is the elements of ethics. There's 4 things that he talks about. I just want to quickly run through them for you and make sure that everybody is kind of clear about the distinctions he's making. Yesterday, he was talking about different types of ethics: descriptive ethics, normative ethics, meta-ethics, applied ethics. Today, he's talking about this, which is if you have a moral framework, a theoretical framework by which you're making moral and ethical decisions, he's saying there's some characteristics that it needs to have. And the first thing is, he says it needs to be marked by what he calls the preeminence of reason, meaning that our decision making around morality, around difficult ethical issues, is going to be one in which we're using our critical thinking. We're going to be using reason to try to get at what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing that we want to try to avoid, but that is a decision that's made through our reason. And so he says it's the preeminence of reason because he does want to identify that we are, human beings. We're complex creatures. We're made up of lots of different sides because, look, we have a physical side, an emotional side, a psychological side, a spiritual side. We have all these dimensions to us. And what he's saying, and I agree with, is that you want to have reason be the preeminent one in that process. Now, he and I differ a little bit on this one thing, which is he says, look, don't trust your feelings. You have an emotional side, you've got feelings. Don't trust us. That can lead us astray because we can become overly emotional and that can cloud our judgment. I would say this. I'd say he's on the right track when he uses the language of preeminence of reason, meaning keep them all together. I would say bring your whole self to any difficult decision that you have to make. Don't stop being a human being. He really kind of condemns feelings and emotions as this really kind of negative thing in this context, and I don't think that's true. I would encourage you to bring your whole self to difficult ethical decisions, including your feelings and emotions, every aspect of you, and give priority to reason. That's a better way of thinking about it. Anyway, you can see that he and I kind of disagree a little bit about that. The next 2, the universal perspective and the principle of impartiality, they're kind of 2 sides of the same coin in this sense. He says, look, you want to have rules that you can apply, and if you do so, they need to be fair. This is a focus on kind of a generalizing rule, meaning that, for example, let's say you say there's a rule that cheating on a test is wrong. Well, you want that rule to be generalizable, meaning that if you think it's wrong at St. Philip's, it makes sense that it's also wrong at Northwest Vista College or St. Mary's University or Trinity or UTSA, something like that. Or if it's wrong here, it makes sense that it's wrong kind of everywhere. You can generalize and apply it every place. We'll come back to that one later. But also, the flip side of that is the principle of impartiality. He says that if you have a rule that's generalizable, it also needs to be applied evenly and impartially to everybody. So, for example, if you said, hey, there's a rule, no cheating on tests, you know, for everybody except, this person, Lisa, you get to cheat. Go ahead. That's no problem for you. And I think everyone in the class would look around and rightfully say, hey, now hold on a minute. How come this rule applies to all of us but not to her? Why is she special? That's this principle of impartiality. You want to have rules, and if you're going to have them, you need to make sure they apply to everybody. Equal justice under the law. The last thing that he mentions as part of this ethical landscape, the elements of ethics, is that this concept of a dominance of moral norms. And what he means there is that there's going to be a lot of competing sources of authority, from rules or customs and traditions to laws. And what he says is, look, moral norms, the fundamental values and beliefs, the morality of a people, of a society, that's going to trump the other things. Said another way, Mark Twain said it like this with only 6 words. He said, law is sand, custom is rock. Meaning that it's the custom which is the important part, and we'll change the laws to meet the values and beliefs of a people. Again, examples, in the United States, in our history, at one point slavery was legal. Well, the values and beliefs of the people changed over time, and we changed the laws, made slavery illegal. We didn't get all the way there in terms of treating people fairly and equally, so we still had Jim Crow laws in the South. But again, as the values and beliefs of the people changed, we changed those laws. And so the point is that there is, again, lots of different sources of authority about what we should do or not do. But the preeminent one, the one that's going to take priority, are going to be the moral norms. The values and beliefs of a people are going to be what ultimately wins the day, even if that means we change laws to fit a changing ethical landscape. So those are the 4 things he talks about in that section of chapter 1 called the elements of ethics. I just wanted to walk us through those concepts again because we want to be thinking about the next case study due Sunday night. We want to apply some of the terms and concepts from the chapters to the case studies we're working on so that we give them a good long treatment, a full treatment of the issues that are involved. And we apply these concepts to these practical cases. That's kind of the whole point. So if you got questions or problems, let me know. I've been getting some emails, feedback from people from the Canvas page. A lot of that just had to do with getting the book and making sure that's sorted out. But with that under control, most people are reading the book, applying it to the case study, and doing a nice job. So we're rolling along pretty well. Again, that's good because you got to remember, you're going to blink and this thing is going to speed by. You're going to feel like you were in some minor car wreck. You'll be like, whoa, this class is over already? So buckle down and keep working away. Let me know if I can be of any help at all. Take care. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.